My name is Alaya Chadwick, and this is just a very brief introduction of me so that you can hear me talk about my excitement about the master class, which actually I have now come to understand is also a master's communion in which we share with everyone about the wisdom of our particular way. Let me back up. I have two master's degree, 5-year program that I took, MSW from the University of Connecticut, and an MDiv, 3-year MDiv degree in pastoral counseling from Yale. I did it simultaneously. And for many years, I worked as a psychotherapist. And then one day, about 23 years ago, I realized that there was this skeleton inside of our psychology, our psyche, our humanness, and that it was true for everybody. Just like we all flesh out differently, but we all have an arm bone, a leg bone. We all have a particular presentation. And at the same time, we also all have the same skeleton, basically. And then I realized, oh my gosh, this skeleton, if I began to use it and teach people this, they would begin to make sense to themselves in a very empowered way. The truth of me is that I am a very practical person, and I really love to empower people to be able to do it for themselves. So about that time, I began to use the wisdom way with people that I work with. I call them Gertrudes and Fentons for confidentiality. And very quickly, people were making sense to themselves and in a way liberating themselves from the dark holes of confusion that they'd been living in. And from that point, I taught people how to work with other people. I taught live mini whole shops. Those are 2-day intensives of different levels. And over the course of time, there was level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the Wisdom Way. The master class, which is a very exciting opportunity for anyone who is brave of heart and really, really wants to make a difference in their coaching clients' lives and in their own, is starting in November. And its intent for the participants, who I call apprentices, is to learn for themselves first, level 1, 2, 3, and 4. There'll be 4 levels that are taught in this masterclass, or communion of wisdom is another way of saying it. And as simultaneously as one is learning how to do it for themselves, to self-apply, there's a parallel track where you're learning how to do it and work with other people. So in the end of it, all the participants have permission to work one-on-one with their coaching clients after having demonstrated their mastery of this. Now, one of the things that's amazing about the Wisdom Way is that it's like a red carpet of wisdom that unfolds each step you take. It doesn't unfold just right in front of you. Each step you take, another bit unfolds in front of you. For you, let's see. What would make it important and useful for coaching people to take this is this simple observation of mine after 45 years of experience in the field of human transformation and awakening and all of the buzzwords that we all are familiar with, is that most of us have studied this particular thing and this particular thing and this particular thing. And then it rests on the coach to reach into whatever bin seems like it's the one to use on behalf of our particular client. The Wisdom Way did something amazing and profound for me. after the first 25 some years. And I had little bins everywhere of all different things I'd studied, from clinical neuroscience research work at Yale, all the way to the other side of it, which is shamanic journeying and Reiki and everything in the middle. EMDR and tapping and blah, 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 typologies. And I had all these bins of different things. And yes, I was helpful. However, once I began to really settle into the map, the method, and the means of the wisdom way, all of those different things were no longer dangling separately. They each took their place in the map, in the skeleton. And I, as a coach, could relax into work with people and conversations with people in a very, very different way. My dream is that people who have a lot of experience or not, either one, it doesn't matter, can learn this and run with it, because it's not about me. This is a universal understanding that as soon as people begin to get it, they go, oh my gosh, if I'd known this, I wouldn't have done this. I would have done this. I can use this. Now I get what this is happening with this person, that person, or the other person. So in our first master class, the participants were transformed within themselves, as well as became transformers on behalf of their clients. So I'm going to tell you a short story, because one of the things that's true about the wisdom way is it's very simple. And many people struggle with simplicity. There's this funny idea that complexity means wisdom. Honestly, if you can't say it in a simple way, you're using complexity to hide from yourself. So I'm going to tell you a story, because we do use stories and toys and images and diagrams. Wisdom way is often seen as a very visual kind of approach, and it's also visceral. So this is a story. There was a man and he was in a hole, or you could say a woman, it doesn't matter. We all fall into holes. And the wisdom way is based on the analogy of a hole. And when we're in a hole, it's dark. There's not light. And this person was sitting in this hole for a very long time. We all can imagine the pits or the holes that we've been stuck in our lifetime, that just have struggled and struggled and struggled to not keep falling in or tripping on the curb, as I like to say. Please don't say triggered. It's got such violence in it. It means the other person who's triggered is the victim, and now we're already in the hole of feeling powerless. Anyway, back to my story. So there is this person sitting in a hole, and there's this teeny weeny itsy bitsy little light that can be seen way up there at the hole, top of the hole. And this person has called and cried and wept and screamed and see me and help me and try and try and try. Finally, just sitting at the bottom of the hole, discouraged. It is a place I spent a lot of my time, sitting at the bottom of the hole, discouraged. I tried everything. I still kept going through this same agony and agonizing process. So suddenly one day, this person in my story sees a silhouette of a head up there. Can't you just imagine the excitement? Oh my gosh, finally somebody's seeing me. I'm so excited. This is going to be great. And all the stories of what's going to happen. Ladders will come down, ropes will come down. They'll pull me out of this hole. Now, of course, if you get pulled out of the hole, I promise you, you will fall back into the hole. The magic of the wisdom way is that it shows you how to collapse holes so you don't keep falling into the same ones. How amazing is that? But in all my training, no one had ever taught me that holes could collapse. So after a time, the person that they see up there calls down, I'm coming to help you. all of the fantasies of what that would look like. And suddenly, most horrifyingly to the person in that hole, in that dark pit, there's this bang, 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 bang against the edges of the hole. And then there's the person who was up there sitting right in front of them. Well, the person who is in the hole, we'll call her Gertrude, is mad. How come you just jumped into the hole? Now how are we going to get out? And has a big fit. You can imagine it. I don't need to describe it. Gertrude calms down. The person who jumped into the hole says, well, I have something to, and Gertrude just can't contain it. And she's just so mad because now she feels like she's stuck in the hole again, except the person who could have helped pull her out of the hole has now jumped in with her. So she has another temper tantrum. At the end of the temper tantrum, she finally calms down and she says, okay, how come you did that? How come you jumped into the doggone hole? Now we're both stuck. The person who jumped into the hole, a member of the master class, who knows about the map, the method, and the means, the simplicity of it, says, well, I have a secret to tell you. A wondrous, simple truth. I jumped in because at the bottom of this hole that you've been trying to get out of for the longest of times and haven't managed to, there's actually a door that will take you to liberation in a way that you haven't even been able to imagine. Because you've been so focused on getting out of the hole that you didn't notice that there was something deeper and more profound here for you. And guess what? I have the key to the hole. That's what the Wisdom Way offers, a key that's uniquely named, crafted, and identified by every person that you as a coach who's taken the master class can be and walk with your clients. You know, I was asked one time in one of the Meet the Teachers calls by somebody, you know, I've graduated from this coaching program. What makes it important to take this? And I said, you can study every other thing you study and you'll still have little bins everywhere. But if you take this, you'll have a way to integrate it, put it all together in one simple map, method, and means based on the fact that every single person falls into holes. And until we realize the point is not to climb out of them, but to collapse them, we'll keep doing the same ones over and over again. One other short story, and then I'm going to wrap this up. I hope this is giving you a flavor of me, of story, of the Wisdom Way, and how we teach it and we learn it by self-applying and practicing with people at the same time. So this isn't just a cognitive learning over there. It involves your head, your heart, your body, your whole entire being in a very simple way. So here's a short story to give you an understanding in a different way. So there was a little person sitting on the floor, happily discovering that they had a voice, singing, like we've all done in some way or another. A big person walks through and comments because they had a very bad day at work. They say, that sounds terrible. Stop that noise. Unbeknownst to the big person, the little person goes, oh, my voice caused that judgment. They don't do it consciously. We don't do this consciously. But I'm just going to contain my voice. And that decision unconsciously is like a virus that runs beneath everything. That person, that little person, let's say Gertrude, grows up. She doesn't know she did that. She made a hole. She pushed away her voice. Now she has this great job. She's doing beautifully. And her boss says, hey, look, I really want you to give this presentation next week to this group, and I want you to just run the show. For some reason, she just gets terrified inside. Now, the trap here is if she's working with someone who doesn't know the MAP method and means, that person is going to tell her to have assertiveness training or to learn about public speaking or all of those kinds of things. But it's not going to change the fact that she's sitting in the middle of a hole. She pushed away her voice, but she didn't know she did. And those decisions are like a virus in a computer. However, Gertrude was very lucky and was working with someone who came to the master class and understood the MAP, the method and means, and knew a very simple way to show it to her. So they did a whole study, did a map, and all of a sudden it became clear to her she made so much sense. If she used her voice, she would be breaking the rule that she'd made for herself, that she didn't even know she made for herself way a long time ago. And you know what happened? She did her presentation. It was fantastic. And she felt liberation from the inside out. So if I could say anything about the Wisdom Way, it's liberation from the inside out using simple, simple truth, because nothing can be hidden when simple truth is the basis of the work. I hope deeply that you consider joining us in the master class, having fun with us, learning with us, because we all have holes, we're all holy, and we're all holy ourselves, all with those different ways of describing holy. Thank you for listening. I hope this is useful to you, and I am perfectly happy to have a live conversation with anyone who wants to talk to me about the master class or the masterful communion of the Wisdom Way. Thank you for joining me.